Everything is fine here. Are we not ready? Is that Michael? You want to come say hi? Nope, you're out of here.
All right, you can take it if you want to.
Everything is fine here at Detention Block AA23 because now, officially, all of the members are parents. I cannot describe to you that there's a kid in my background right now who's got an owie somehow. Hey, buddy. So everything is fine here because Mudge is a parent. Congratulations, Jackson.
Thank you.
John Mudge.
Yep.
Somehow he's going to get called JJ.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to put on the dad weight.
Which I'm sure all my Wisconsin friends will be happy because then that's close to JJ Watt.
Uh-oh.
A very good Badger.
There might have been a ball that went under the bed.
Oh, he's got his basketball. He's playing some hoops.
So anyway, I just want to say big congrats to you, Michael. Having a boy is exciting. It also is terrifying. I hope your kid doesn't love balls as much as my kid. He's climbing the bed right now. Just absolute yikes everywhere.
Oh, it's been great so far. I mean, not much sleep.
My wife's here, so it's not like I'm stuck with Bennett right now, but she's probably like, some peace and quiet. He's gonna go ruin a podcast.
Hey, but he's entertaining. I mean, he was the star last time.
Yeah.
Which was what, 2 weeks ago?
Yeah, you got a taste of that stardom, and then he won him back in.
Yeah, I can see that. How is he with the hoops? Is he getting it down?
He's got a good shot.
Yeah,
better than me.
Is he going to be a point guard or?
No, I hope he's a golfer or something. Low impact.
Hey, that's a good profession to get into in terms of professional sports. You can have a long career and make a lot of money.
He's out of here.
Peace.
All right, hold on, I'm gonna let him out real quick.
You're gonna let him out? Okay. Well, while he's doing that, yes, that is why we weren't recording last week. So Jackson John Mudge, my little boy, joined us in the world on the 20th, which was not yesterday or not this past Tuesday, but the Tuesday before. So that's where I was. I was in the hospital. We didn't get out of the hospital until Wednesday, which again is why we weren't recording. And I'm not going to record right after my child was born. So
where's your dedication, man?
Kid takes priority now.
How much time do you got off?
Well, I'm taking PTO right now. I took 3 weeks off. Well, I started my 3 weeks this week. So I go back. My first day back will be the 17th of July. So and then I'm taking my
doesn't follow this podcast. Mudge has like 18 years of PTO. So, I mean, he could take off. I mean, the kid could be 18 by the time he has to go back to work.
Well, the trick is I've been working there so long that it's a lot quicker for me to accrue. And I had over 5 weeks already accrued. So I'm going to use 3 weeks of it up front. And then I'm going to take my actual paternity leave when Colleen's done, which will be around October, November-ish. So, but did you see there's a new law that was signed in the state of Minnesota for paternity leave?
No.
But it doesn't take effect until January 1st, 2026. And
yeah, I'm done having kids. So.
Yeah, I know. I'll probably be done by that point. But it's 20 weeks paid leave for anyone. But you get only a fraction of your wages. So if you earn a certain amount, you get 80% of your wages. If you earn, I think if you earn more than 50% of the average wage, you get 66% of your wages. So, but that won't apply to us. Well, it will. We'll have to pay for it. We'll have to contribute towards it in our taxes, but we won't get the benefit out of that. But anyways, we're not here to talk babies. We're here to talk some Star Wars. And I know
there's more babies to talk about than Star Wars.
Oh, that's true. There's not much news. And all the news that we're getting right now is pretty much all rumor. So there's nothing really too concrete or solidified. But it's, still worth like talking about it, I guess. But yeah, well, we'll just go ahead and dive into it. So the first little bit of news, and I will remind you, we are live right now. So bring us your comments, questions, anything. We'll bring you on the show just as much as we are. So talk to us on our live chat. But so there's been a lot of vocalization lately from, Lucasfilm in terms of moving away from George Lucas's vision of Star Wars, or Star Wars in general, moving away from George Lucas. So Kathleen Kennedy was stating something along those lines in an interview with Games Radar, referring to particular to the film that will see return of Daisy Ridley as the main star. She was quoted, "And I think it offers just tremendous opportunity to introduce new characters and start with something fresh, because we culminated with what George Lucas was creating, and now we take all of that and move to the next chapter." So thus the new Daisy Ridley film kind of taking a new beginning for Star Wars. And I know this, it's been it's a controversial statement, but at the same time, it's kind of being spun a little out of context as well, because a lot of people are saying like, oh, this is Kathleen Kennedy kind of destroying George Lucas's vision of Star Wars and everything, which it could be. I mean, it very well could be that, but it also could just be saying, we're kind of moving on from the Skywalker saga. And I think a lot of people kind of want that as well. I think you being one of them, right, Dustin?
Yeah.
So I don't know, how do you interpret this thus far, kind of these comments?
I don't know, man. I think Disney wants a changing of the guard, right? I think we'll talk a little bit more about that, but I mean, it's not a fresh start, or it's not like fresh characters. They're bringing back characters that were in the sequel trilogy, and I just want to move on from it, and we're not doing that, so I'm a little disappointed. And it's not that like I don't like Daisy Ridley's character Rey or John Boyega's character Finn. It's just, I mean, it left a bad taste in all our mouths because they did such a bad job with it. It would be nice if they just moved on. I mean, Rey is Daisy Ridley's very young, right? So it's not like, I mean, they could maybe push it 10 years from now and not redo something, but, extend that sequel trilogy story.
Sure.
But yeah, I'm disappointed. I want them to do new stuff. And if that new stuff has to go back in time, that's fine. Like, the High Republic or, even the Old Republic, and bring that into canon. I just, disappointed. And I think, we'll talk about more the changing of the guard and the issue with them trying to distance themselves from, I don't know, the creator of the whole freaking thing.
See, and if that's what's the mission, I think that's dangerous. Only because George Lucas is like the father of all of this. It's okay to like go ahead and kind of go a different direction. I think that's fine. But do you really want to call it out specifically that we're moving on from George Lucas? Because I think there's a huge risk there in, splitting up the fan base, or I don't know. There's just a lot of repercussions. There's a lot of loyalty to George Lucas. I mean, the original trilogy and the impact it had, not just for the franchise, but the movie industry in itself. Like, do you really want to move away from one of the best movie creators of all time? I don't know. It's a risky statement.
Have you heard or have you seen a movie called, I think it's just called Blackberry?
I don't think I have.
It's really good. I just watched it. You can rent it now on Amazon Prime. You could probably just wait for it to come on streaming services, but it's basically about the creation of the phone Blackberry.
Yeah.
It's a fictionalized version of the story, so you got to take that with a huge grain of salt.
Loosely based on a true story, then?
Of course. I mean, but a lot of the components are the same, and we know the end result is obviously the same, is that Blackberry, they got stuck in their hubris and didn't want to make changes, and the iPhone had clearly figured something out that consumers would like more, the guy was convinced. He's like, no one's going to want a phone without a keyboard built into it. Well, I mean, you talk about a catastrophic misunderstanding of the market.
Yeah.
And I just worry that Disney might be doing that with Star Wars, right? Where they don't understand what the core fan base was, or dare I say Bud Light, like you literally
Know your audience.
I don't, yeah, know your audience. And I don't agree or disagree with what's going on. Like I'm not boycotting Bud Light. I don't drink it anyway, because it's not my favorite beer. A lot of that's because I lived in St. Louis and so you drank for forever. So it's just nice to go away from something.
But your awareness would be good enough to know, like, there's going to be repercussions if we do this or if we do that.
Well, I mean, and not only that, you're basically shitting on your consumer base.
Yeah.
And it's not the action of what they did, but what they said afterwards.
Right.
Like, oh, we got to get away from these, basically, I mean, I'm paraphrasing, but like, oh, we got to get away from these wet rednecks.
Right.
Like, imagine like Kathleen Kennedy saying, I'm so sick and fucking tired of these Star Wars nerds.
Yeah.
It's kind of like that.
Well, but is that what that's kind of saying? I mean, it's not saying that. I won't take it to that level. But
and I'm not either. I'm just saying,
right,
we're trending in that direction.
Yeah.
With some of the decisions that are being made.
Yeah, you're saying without saying one way or another. And I personally think that's dangerous. I do. I know the intent, and I don't necessarily disagree with the intent, but it's like, it's a very dangerous path to walk, and it's very dangerous things to say, or at least you really got to be careful with what you're saying.
And if you throw the path of the dark side.
Yeah. And if you throw George Lucas's name in there, be careful. You're going to stir the pot a little bit. And I think that's kind of what's happening. And just to go back a little bit, you were talking about kind of the next Daisy Ridley movie and, wanting to move on from the story. Because if that's what they want to do, why are they even bringing a new Daisy Ridley movie out? I mean, one of the last lines out of the sequel trilogy was literally that she's a Skywalker. And so that would obviously continue into this next movie. And if it's a Skywalker, that means you're continuing the Skywalker story. So you're not really backing up your statements with what you're executing here. And it makes me feel like you're just continuing this story. Like maybe your other projects, you're trying to make that focus of expanding beyond the Skywalker story. But at the same time, you also want to continue the Skywalker story to gain that revenue from, the fans of the Skywalker saga. So I don't know. It's saying one thing and doing another thing, in my opinion. I'm not a fan of Kathleen Kennedy, and I'm also not a fan of Kathleen Kennedy. I'm very much impartial because there's been a lot of good things that has come out in Star Wars in the past few years. But I will say, I feel like there's been less good things to come out of Star Wars in the last few years compared to the amount of bad things. So I don't know. We're just going to have to wait and see. I would, if it were up to me, I would like to see Lucasfilms being headed by a different person. Kathleen Kennedy can still be amongst the crew, but maybe a new CEO. I don't know. But, and going off of that, Leslie Headland, who is helming the whole Acolyte project, has also...
Isn't that, I thought that got scrapped or something.
There's so many rumors going back and forth. So one minute you're hearing it's been canceled. The other moment you're hearing it's not canceled. And I think it's because it's insider information coming from like close connections that are catching wind of it, but nothing's been really said out loud. So like you can't jump to one conclusion or another. But so Leslie Headland has also spoken out in terms of moving on from George Lucas's stuff and kind of creating this new direction for Star Wars, which I feel like they've already been going in new directions. It's not really anything new in my eyes, but there's even people saying, or going to the lengths of saying, that she's been stating that Star Wars is misogynistic
Yeah, I've heard that.
Meanwhile, she's heading the Acolyte project. Again, is this canceled or is it not canceled? I don't know. There's rumors out there. But it's just interesting that all this stuff comes out right now with everything that will be released. So I don't know. There's a lot of rumors out there. What do you think?
About it being potentially canceled or some of the
Yeah.
rumors?
Yeah. Let me put it this way. If these rumors are true, do you think it's justified to fire her and cancel the show?
Well, I don't know. I don't want to be. I hate cancel culture,
I do too.
and I hate. I mean, if you say something and it's stupid, doesn't mean like your career should be over. You know?
Yeah.
I don't like what she said about the misogyny thing. I just, even if it is correct, I mean, Leia was like one of the first strong female characters in cinema, you
Yeah.
know, in the sci-fi space.
Yep.
So it seems kind of weird that she would say something like that.
Well,
I
and
mean, I don't know behind the scenes. I mean, maybe she meant like, you know, her interactions with the higher ups, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know, man.
I think that's more of what she is alluding to. It's more about the actual industry being more misogynistic, and alluding to George Lucas having the control and still having the control. Even though he doesn't, he still has a lot of influence on it. Even though you've got all these other creators, like, and I can understand interpretation. Like, everyone has their own interpretations of things. And, you know, if there's been some negative press on some of the new things that have come out and based on who's creating them. I mean, like, look at everyone wants Dave Filoni and Jon Favreau to head Star Wars because everyone likes the product that they've been doing. And then, of course, George Lucas is the one that brought everything about. I think she's more pointing out that there's other creators and other directors or whatnot that deserve a lot of the accolades that aren't necessarily getting them. So
I mean, look what some of the best episodes came from Bryce Dallas Howard.
Deborah Chow.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And I think it's also a product of what's the expression? I'm totally spacing on this. Like, how we see the world, like perception is reality. And I like that quote, but I change it. I like to say your own perception is your own reality. I like to rephrase it that way. So, like, if you live if your mission is to bring change in a certain way, your focus on everything is going to be based off of that concept and that idea, which may or may not be how things are actually being done, but to you, that's what you see. And if she believes like the film industry or Star Wars is misogynistic, then everything that seems misogynistic, she's going to point it out that way. Which is we all do that. We're all guilty of our own perceptions. So I totally understand it, but I don't know if I would agree with it. Because to your point, Star Wars, and even the movie or film industry in general has made a lot of strides in changing that perception that it's a male-dominated industry. Because if you look at some of the most successful and highest paid people out there, like a lot of them, especially celebrities, are females. I mean, Oprah Winfrey is probably one of the wealthiest celebrities out there.
Yeah. I mean, probably one of the wealthiest humans out there.
Yeah. And is it perfect yet? No, but there's been a lot of strides in change, and change takes time. It's not something that's going to change in an instant. So just to kind of bring it back, I understand the thought process and I understand what she's trying to say, but I don't 100% agree with it. And I don't know. I just have a problem. And I know we were all kind of texting. Well, Zach and I were kind of texting back and forth in our group text about this a little bit.
TLDR.
What?
TLDR.
What's that?
Too long, didn't read.
Oh, no, what we were saying is that we wish that like Star Wars or Lucasfilm would move away of trying to like solve like a societal problem. Like, let's just get back to focusing on the business at hand. Like, do what you're best at. Produce good quality movies, instead of like trying to appease everyone or everything, because that impacts the product. Because you can achieve those things without that being the main focus of that thing. Because look at all these other, like Fennec Shan, one of the best characters, Ahsoka, one of the best Star Wars characters. Like there's all these new characters and new content coming from Star Wars that are supporting like a strong female lead. And that's great. That's really good. We don't need to make so much of an emphasis in everything we do to particular ideas. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, man. I mean, not everything has to have a political agenda one way or the
Exactly.
other.
Exactly.
And we always want to put something to it, right? And that's our perceptions, our reality. We want to put our agenda onto a piece of work, a piece of art. And sometimes those pieces of art have that agenda, right?
Yeah.
And that's fine too.
Yes.
But, let's get away from that a little bit in Star Wars, because that's not what makes Star Wars great. I mean, a lot of things are getting like that, And
Disney in general. I mean, look at
I'm saying that from a perspective of, a single or straight white male.
Yeah.
So,
likewise, know our own bias, right?
And I do know my own bias and my own privilege. I mean, I do acknowledge it. So I just don't know what to do about it.
Yep. Yeah, I think it's important to say that this is all in our own opinions. We don't look at ourselves as being right. We don't look at ourselves as being wrong. We're just voicing our thoughts and our opinions.
And we might need to get like a female co-host on here.
Yeah.
We'll kick Greg or Zach out, and we'll get a female co-host who can give us a female perspective.
Yeah, if you're interested, reach out to us. We'll go through the interview process, and we'll bring on a new DetBlock Crew member. But yeah, I mean, when it comes to movies, I think people want to escape reality. Don't bring reality into the escape, like we see political things everywhere, 24/7 in our everyday life. If we want to watch a movie, we want to escape from that. So let's not bring it into movies. I have this whole on our show sheet. I have like 3 pages of all the things that Hedlund was saying, but I will not go into all of that. I will move on to really quickly, because we're going to keep this a short one. Another news bit, which I think is pretty cool. And I don't think it's unexpected, but more or less the Ahsoka show has been confirmed by Dave Filoni that is officially, I'll do quote unquote, officially Rebels season 5. I think that's pretty cool. I don't know many things that have, started as an animated series and then continued on into live action in such a way, or vice versa. So the latest issue of Total Film brings an interview with Ahsoka star Rosario Dawson, who discussed how Ahsoka ties into the Star Wars Rebel base on what series creator Dave Filoni shared with her. And it's quoted here: "It's hard sometimes to tell with the things you read online, whether that's actual fact or just some fact fiction." Well, kind of like all the rumors we were talking about. Dawson goes on it, but I'm pretty sure Dave said that this is basically like the 5th season of Rebels. So it felt nice to feel that sort of continuation with these people she's got such as rich history with. I don't know what that seemed like an interesting sentence. Anyways, you can see that with her mission that she has going after Thrawn and believing that he's still alive and holding Ezra in her heart because they have a really beautiful long history as well. So it sounds like Dave Filoni is not publicly announced, but amongst, the inside crew and everything, that this is essentially Rebels season 5. And I think that's pretty cool. And they kind of allude to that too in the trailer, because you see kind of Ahsoka in her gray cloak, and you see Sabine standing next to the mural. How season 4 of Rebels ends is kind of where this picks up in that trailer. So
yeah,
I
when
think
the
that's pretty
season,
cool.
maybe when it's getting closer, we should rewatch season 5.
I think we should do that. I think that will be
Season 4, season 5, whatever it is.
Yeah, so it goes to season 4. So I think that's probably a good idea. I'd probably recommend it to all the listeners out there. Kind of touch up on all the Rebels content. I'm sure it will help you going into the Ahsoka. And Rebels was a great show. So good.
It was, man.
Clone Wars and Rebels, even though it's animated, some of the best Star Wars content out there. But Ahsoka, yeah, that show's coming up in August, I think. So I know things are slow now, but they're about to pick up here pretty quick. So anything else on your end, man?
Yeah, just watching the NHL draft a little bit. Boo to the Blackhawks. They get gifted the number 1 overall pick. Dude, the NHL draft is so boring, right? And the reason is it's not like the NFL where the players that get picked are going to be used like right away, or the NBA, where like the number 1 pick basically plays like, that season. I mean, these players, Connor Bedard would play because he's number 1 overall, but like all the other picks after him are probably not going to play in the NHL for like 3 or 4 years. So I always find it funny. I always find it hilarious. So this Russian player got picked number 7 overall, which I was pissed because I wanted him, on the Blues, because we had
What pick did the Blues get?
We had the number 10. And they asked him, how do you feel about, playing for John Tortorella? I'm like, John Tortorella ain't going to be there when this guy is playing. What a dumb question.
Well, that's valid. It's a valid point.
He won't be there. I can guarantee you. So just can we stop with these like ridiculous, the team's going to be completely different by the time they even make it. So that's kind of why it's boring. And then it's hilarious. Carey Price went up there. I think it was the 5th overall pick. And I don't know if he wasn't prepared, but they asked him and, to announce the pick, and he goes, David. And he
So
looked
it's
back and they're like, oh,
like Brett Favre.
yeah, no, David. He didn't even know the guy's last name.
Yeah.
It was Reinbacher.
Okay.
Even I knew that. So,
yeah, when Brett Favre got drafted by the Falcons, his last name got butchered.
Yeah. So I figured at the end of the podcast we could talk a little sports, right? I almost want the Cardinals to lose, right?
Well, they are.
Well, they are losing, but they started winning a little bit, and I don't want them to, because the truth is the front office did not build the best team that could have. They did not improve on the biggest weakness of the team, which is starting pitching, that everyone knew except them. They came out completely, cocky and said, well, we have 6 starters. Where would we have added another? Dude, the rotation is like bottom half of the league, right? And even if they did start winning, they ain't doing anything in the playoffs. We have like 1 good starter. You can't win in the playoffs with 1 good starter.
No one from the NL Central is going to do anything.
And another thing too, yeah, that's true. That's true. So that's the thing, like they say iron sharpens iron, and I've said this before. And, you got 2 dull knives like sharpening each other, ain't doing crap. And that's basically what the NL Central is. And they get to the postseason and they're completely outclassed.
Yeah, like if the Brewers make it, all you got to do is put a left-handed starter up there. We're done.
For the Brewers, for the Cardinals, for the Cubs, the worst thing for us as like a division is that we're so bad right now. And we have been for a long time. And, it's not the NL East, right? It's not the AL West, right?
Well, the AL Central's been worse because they had one team over 500.
Oh, AL Central's garbage. Yeah.
So at least we're not the worst division.
Yeah. So, I want the Cardinals to lose because just get them knocked out of the
Well, I mean,
even thought that they could compete.
All-Star break's coming up. The trade deadline, they're not going to be buying coming up to the trade deadline. So I think you're safe if that's what you want. I think you'll probably get your wish. Unless they just go on a 20-game win streak. Didn't they do that? Was that last
17 game win streak. And then they fired the manager.
Oh, that sounds about right. I mean, the Reds, they did a 12-game winning streak. That was pretty good.
Yeah, the Reds are fun. They've kind of come back. Dude, that's
put themselves in contention.
So this is what happens, right? It's like the worst horse race ever, or maybe the most exciting horse race ever, where like someone like takes off, right? And they get to the top and then they go and they come back. And then like someone else,
because then they lose 3 straight now or something like that.
Yeah, they've come back down to earth. But yeah, it's not a good division. And
that's why I think the Brewers will take it, because they've consistent. I mean, they're not a good team. They're an okay team. They're not going anywhere, but they've been able to maintain like up at the top of the NL Central the whole time. It'd be annoying.
Surprisingly, the Cubs have the best rotation. I don't think anyone saw that coming.
Well, I mean, Burns has had a rough year. Peralta's had a rough year. And we've had 4 starters injured. Because Wade Miley just came back and he's been pitching amazingly. We're still waiting for Woodruff to come back. Lauer isn't back yet. And we started the season without Aaron Ashby.
Mm-hmm.
So we have the best rotation. We just haven't been healthy. So, but our bullpen's been lights out. That's always been a strength of ours, is the bullpen. But
yeah, I don't disagree. I think the Brewers are probably the best well-rounded team. I think they could go. See, here's the thing.
Our offense is terrible. We have the 29th out of 30 on offense.
Yeah, and that's what I was going to say, right? So I think offense is going to be pretty easy to get at the trade deadline. Pitching is going to be a fucking nightmare.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I mean, there are so many teams that are looking for pitching, like the Astros, the Yankees, the Dodgers. All these big market teams are looking for pitching. So the prices are going to go up, which is why, I mean, the Cardinals should sell on some of their short-term assets. Right. So we'll see what happens.
I wouldn't be shocked if we traded Corbin Burns.
Yeah, I wouldn't be either, but that's more, I think, an off-season move, in my opinion.
Yeah, because we do have him for one more year, so it could be. But I think because he has been struggling this year. So do you strike when the iron's still hot, or if he continues the whole year struggling, does he lose trade value?
The Blackhawks just made a trade.
Oh, they did?
Oh, no, this is dumb. This is from last year.
Oh.
Yeah, they're at pick 19. So this is the pick that they got from.
Oh, okay. Got it. Yeah, we love our sports, so we'll talk about our sports.
Yeah,
and hey, I haven't gotten to talk to Dustin in a while. I've been dealing with a baby, so.
Dude, my pumpkins are coming in fast and furious right now.
Dude,
I just mean the vines.
I planted the pumpkins in a new spot, and the vines are growing like crazy. I'm like,
so finally, you doing pumpkins?
I've done them every year, and I've never produced a pumpkin. And I think I'm finally going to be able to produce a pumpkin this year.
Okay, so can I give you some tips?
Yeah, please do.
Oh boy, ooh, it was weird. My headphones just like crackled really bad.
Spazzed out.
Oh, just did it again. Hold on. What's happening? Right, say something.
Something.
Yeah, that's bad.
It's bad. Audio problem.
Okay, say something.
Something.
Yeah, that's bad. It's like, it sounds like you're the devil.
Now
you are the devil.
Spawn of Satan.
Yeah, blow on it. Oh. Okay.
Oh boy.
All right. Anyway, so if you want to get like big pumpkins, you can't let the branches go off too much.
Okay.
You want to start trimming those tertiary vines away.
focus all the energy and nutrients to the pumpkins you want to grow.
Yeah, and I mean, really, if you have all these vines, if you start seeing other pumpkins grow on the same vine, you might want to take it out.
Snip them.
Yeah. So another thing too is a big problem I had the first year. I somehow overcame it. Was the vine borers? These like little worms that get in the vine and starts.
Oh,
So there's a way to get rid of them. You cut down the middle and you pull them out, and then you just take some soil and pack it in if you get them. Another big key thing I've been doing wrong for the last 3 years is you really do not, under any circumstance, want to get the leaves wet when you're watering the plants.
just focus on the roots.
Because the leaves will start, those big leaves, right, get moldy.
Mm.
And then it'll spread through the plant.
Yeah, that's happened to mine in the past.
Yeah, so just focus on the roots.
Okay.
So, but I'll send you a picture. Mine are growing up. I built a vertical trellis.
Oh, smart.
Yeah, because Callie doesn't want them like growing crazy throughout. I mean, you have a bigger backyard. We do have a big backyard, but
You get more sunlight though. We don't get much sunlight.
Well, and so I bought these, and I'll show you. I bought these like cloth planter boxes. They were like $25 on Amazon.
Ooh,
And I just filled them up with, probably 60, 80 bucks worth of soil, the potting soil, good potting soil. Right. And I basically pre-planted them in our little sunroom so they could grow sooner, because obviously in Minnesota, you can't really grow your pumpkins until, fucking damn near July. But yeah, so I grew them early this year, and I just transported them from the small, little plastic pot to these bigger 20, I think these are 20-gallon pots. Okay. And it's worked out really well. And I built that trellis, and they're growing up. I'll send you a picture, but it's
okay.
So that's your horticulture hour here at the Detention Block podcast.
We're very well rounded.
And on that note, I do need to go water my garden.
And which it's best, in my opinion, when the sun is almost at like dawn or dusk is the best time.
Yeah, right now.
Because if you water it before, high noon or during high noon, that water will intensify the sunlight and will burn your plants. So
I knew
best
that,
time
like,
is
right
water them right before nighttime. So then at night it can really absorb all the water it can and all the nutrients, and it'll go a lot further. So
yeah. So all right, man.
All right. Well, I will just speak to our social media handles really quick. So you can find us on Twitter at DetBlockAA23pod, on Instagram at detention_block_AA_23, and then our Facebook group and YouTube channels, Detention Block AA23, a Star Wars podcast. Bring us your likes, follows, downloads, subscriptions, everything, comments. We greatly appreciate any little thing that you can do. Again, these next few weeks will be hit or miss in terms of episodes we churn out, but we will do everything that we can. It's just a busy time for all of us. Greg and I have new children and Dustin is on the way as well. So what, August, is that when? October?
When babies do?
Yeah.
October. Well,
October.
I think it's going to end up being September, because we're going to do a planned C-section.
Dude, our two kids are going to be best friends. It's going to be great.
Yeah.
And with that, we will leave you. So thank you for joining us today. Thank you for listening in. Have a great rest of your day, rest of your week. And we will look forward to whenever we come out with our next episode next. Any final words, Dustin?
Fuck the Blackhawks.
Thank you. And I can say the same with the Cardinals. Anyways, may the force be with you.
And also with the Blues draft picks. Woo!
There you go. Hey, that one came through just fine.
Because I didn't whisper it.
Well, that's true.